it all comes down to customer, the buying experience. Providing them with an exceptional buying experience is key. It's one of our key talking points at Poly. They want convenience, and they want convenience at every step of the buying process.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Strategy with Jason. Today, I have a very special guest. I got a good buddy of mine that we got to catch up before I did the recording today, and we're going to have some fun talking about anything and everything we want to talk about around 2022, what's coming up with 2023, and then, of course, NADA right around the corner. But I have the one, the only, the oh-so-famous Rene with me. Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on?
Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to diving in and talking about all things going on in the auto industry. So it's
been a heck of an interesting end of the year, right?
It's been wild. It's been to say it's been a roller coaster for some of the people in this industry and businesses in this industry. I think that's saying and using words very lightly, because it's been everything.
It's been a trip. I mean, Q4
it's been crazy.
Of this year, it's just kind of like, think of, like, we were talking a little bit before we started recording, right? Like, Carvana, right? At the beginning of the year, voted to be like the best company ever. And
I think they had
at the end of the year, they're staring on the barrel of bankruptcy.
Yeah, I think at one point their stocks were like $360 something a copy, and now they're way down.
And that's just one example, right? Let's take a look at like used car prices, right? It's just like, what I was paying for at the beginning of the year, what I'm paying for now.
That's why I said it's when I say it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster in many different areas of the industry, with car prices and used car prices and cost of living and everything that affects us in our daily lives has been affected by not only just the pandemic and getting through that, but the state of where we're at as a country almost is been flipped upside down. So things are I think are on the upswing, and things are going to get better, but there's definitely been a change in the way that dealers, interact with customers. The whole digital retailing is real. We know that, and we have to adapt and change and make sure that we're, delivering cars and information to the customers the way they want to, interact with you. So
I would agree 100%. 2022 was the year of the customer. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been customer focused, customer centric. We just did a buying study where, we did a deep dive into, what the customer is dealing with, in today's market as far as buying a vehicle. And, 59% of recent car buyers said that they feel less comfortable purchasing a car in the current economy. And 64%, that number jumps to 64% when it comes to new car or first time buyers. So, people are, they're unsure. They're unsure about, where everything is headed. Interest rates going up, car prices going up. You just mentioned it. Used car values. Where has this ever been in the industry where, you think about putting your VIN number in a computer and you're going to get an offer within seconds of more than you paid for the car 2 years ago.
It just doesn't happen, right?
In 2021 and 2022, and obviously that can't sustain. We know that.
No. Look, I have managers that are literally looking at swings of even something as simple as a Corolla. Let's just talk just a super simple thing of upwards of a $5,000 swing within just months.
That's the roller coaster.
So you have that impact, right?
Yeah. And again, I think it all comes down to, the customer. The buying experience, providing them with an exceptional buying experience is key. It's one of our key, talking points at Poly. Um, they want convenience, and they want convenience at every step of the buying process. And again, I mentioned it before that the buying study we just did, 72% of car buyers said they want an opportunity to buy auto insurance at the dealership. And, most dealers don't provide that. And obviously that's what we do. But,
Mhm.
and again, when you're
Well,
thinking
it just
about
makes it simple. It makes it easier, right? Like, look,
it's
I think
convenient, you know,
it's convenient. I think if I really kind of think of how the consumer has really kind of changed over the last few years, and it's just their expectations of the level of convenience that companies provide, it's almost just kind of like, wait a minute, you want me to do what?
yeah. Yeah.
I
I
have
mean,
to fill out what?
I was at a Kia dealership this past week in Florida, and I was blown away. I mean, it was the one of the nicest dealerships that I've been to in a while, and everything from the moment you got there and the customer, and thinking about it as in the customer lens, everything was around that experience, and Starbucks coffee and the leather lounge chairs, and these are some of conveniences that you would expect at a Highline store. But you know today's world, and dealers are having to provide these experiences for customers at every level of car buying,
Yes.
whether you're buying an entry level vehicle or an exotic Highline. It's all about experience.
Well, and
And
let's dive a little deeper into that experience, right? Because when I think of kind of the experience, it does have to do with how our dealerships are designed, what materials we're putting into them. But I also think it goes even farther. It's like, what is the marketing experience?
absolutely,
What I'll say the biggest one, and I'm the one on this one I'm huge on right now, is what is the communication experience, right? Because there are brands that I feel like I have like one-on-one communication. Like I can text or email or go to their chat, ask them a question. It's like I get
boom,
my answer like right there, and I'm not buying a $50,000 product from them. I'm buying a pair of jeans from them. But there's just this level of like I feel hyper connected.
yeah,
To them as a brand, and I think the expectation, and you're seeing that like going into the F&I office, you're seeing that going, even after sales. Is like I think as consumers, we're looking for convenience, but we want to be felt known by the
absolutely.
businesses that we're doing business with. Wouldn't
Yeah,
you agree?
100%, 100%. I mean, I started in this business long, long time ago, and this is how I got the white in the beard. By the way, is
Oh no, Rennie, don't be aging yourself like that, man. Don't do that.
but you know, in the past, we would receive an email, and we were told, okay, you got the email, call the customer, or you'd receive you know
For a minute
moving.
there, I thought you said for a minute I thought you were going to say facts, but okay, go ahead, go ahead. It's fine.
Well, we did use those as well. But you nowadays, you receive a text message and it's all right, call the customer, or you get an instant chat on the website and it's like call the customer. Well, if the customer's interacting with you via chat or via text or via email, maybe that's how they want to communicate with you, and it would behoove you to interact and communicate, to your point, with the customer the way they want to interact. And I think that's how this the industry has evolved. We're learning that, what, deliver the information to the customer the way they want to receive it. If
Yes.
the customer wants to interact and do everything from their couch, then let's do it. Let's deliver you all the paperwork, everything you need to while you're sitting at your couch, and we'll send you the vehicle and deliver it to you, the next day or that day, for that matter. So it's
But that's just how the
evolution.
consumer.
That's in my opinion, it's an evolution that the customer is the one that's gained the most
Look,
of
the
it.
customer's more in control now, right? Like, I mean, I even think of this as just like, I mean, look, there's a lot of industry folks, that listen to this podcast. So it's like, I'm thinking this even when we're demoing our product. I'm sure this is probably the same thing for when you're demoing your product to potential customers. There are people that are like, just send me the video. Just
That's right.
send me the video. I'll watch the 15-minute video on myself, and then if I feel, then if I want to take the next step, I'll take the next step with you. Or they're like, no, can we get on a video chat like this right here,
Right.
right? Or actually, can you come out to my dealership and see me one on one? Like, it's the consumer, and it's in our industry just as much. So it's amazing how our industry can't wrap their heads around this. Sometimes some do, and some do a great job of that, but so
No,
many
there's
don't.
no doubt. There's no doubt. The tech savvy dealers right now are the ones that they're killing it. They're crushing it. The ones the ones that are open to the new technology and what's available to them. Um, you know, like Poly, the digital insurance platform solution that we provide dealers. Giving the customer again an exceptional buying experience. Heck, if 74% of customers want to buy insurance when they're buying their car, let's give it to them. The ones that do it, their CSI is much higher. Customer satisfaction is important. I think in any industry, but especially in the auto industry, because as you know, Jason, I mean, the manufacturer basically holds the purse and it's
Hmm.
attached to that CSI. So, whatever we can do to provide that customer with the experience that and the level of um, car buying experience that they expect, we should be able to provide that to them.
Oh, for sure. And look, it also creates an amazing retention, right? Like, I seriously think that, for anybody out there watching, listening, and Rennie, I have no connection with Polly. So that. I'm not here. I'm not paid to say these kind of things, guys, but I'm just telling you, it's just like, I look at kind of a product that you guys offer, and I look at kind of like it's the new tires.
Right.
It's like, why do we sell tires? Is because we look at the retention rate of the customers that come back and not only service with us, but also continue to buy vehicles with us if they buy this one product from us.
That's
I
right.
mean, the studies are shown there. I feel like insurance is kind of that next thing. And I've always looked at kind of, and I love the way you guys also have it structured. So it's convenient, it's easy, it's clean, right? It's almost kind of gamified. I go there, I kind of play, my numbers change. Like it's kind of a fun thing to do. And why not? Why not? I mean, I think too often in our industry is that we focus on the fact that we move the metal and we service the metal, and that's it. But you see some amazing groups out there go way beyond that. You have groups that even have their own insurance policies that they sell back to their customers. You've seen groups that really embrace after sales and do heavily modified amazing vehicles.
Oh
There's
yeah.
more than just moving it and servicing it.
You know, you nailed it there. I mean, some of the key words you're going to hear a lot, in 2023 is about embedded insurance and what does that mean? Well, Jeff Mungin, one of our founders at Poly, he did a webinar recently, and the way he explained it was, to me, makes sense. You know, what is embedded? Insurance. Well, it's like when you go to Disney and you come out of the ride and you have to walk through the gift shop. You get to see all the products before you leave the
There you
ride.
go. 100%.
That's what embedded insurance is, and that's what we provide customers is choice. We work with over 40 different insurance carriers to make sure that we're providing the customer with the best insurance quote possible. Um, and we all know that inflation is real. Gas prices going up. Everything is increasing. Everybody's tightening their budget. Um, one thing that we talk about with dealers is to your point earlier about retention is think about you buy the car, you service the car, you finance the car, now you insure the car at the dealership. Where am I going if I need anything you know with that vehicle? Where am I going? I'm going back to the dealer.
100%.
I'm going to the
Exactly.
dealer
You're going to
because
the
I
dealer.
got everything taken care of from the dealership at the point of sale. So and
You know what? I had to. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole with you real
back
quick.
to convenience.
Exactly. I want to go down a rabbit hole because you mentioned something that it really kind of triggered. Just kind of like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You get off the roller coaster, right? Let's talk about the roller coaster. I've been talking to Disney lately because we're kind of working on an event that we're going to actually host at Disney, and it's going to be super cool. And man, you want to talk about an organization that really understands an experience, right? And
100.
I mean, really, I mean, I think that's how I think dealers should go and go stand in line for an hour to get in the new Avatar ride, and tell me that that hour and then the 7.5 minutes it took for you to get through that ride, the combination of that time wasn't an experience, right? Like, I mean, they do such an amazing job of pre before you get onto the ride, of creating this experience before you get onto the ride. Like,
That's
and I think of that as kind of like what, digital retailing was supposed to do and still can, as long as it's embedded in a process and it's not treated as just some widget on your website, right? I know I'm getting on my soapbox, but I do this sometimes, right? But
I
it's like,
mean,
what is
it's
that kind of map that experience?
and that's what some of the that's what's really exciting about some of the things we're going to be talking about at NADA is that process, the embedded insurance process. How do we put it into a flow that the customer now feels like it's just part of the deal? I buy I agree on the price of the vehicle. I look at my financing options. I look at my insurance options, and I look at my aftermarket options, and it's all part of the process. It's you make
Speaking
it.
of a process, I do have to give you guys a little props, all right? Because
Oh,
I've seen a lot of booths at NADA. And we're all for the industry folk out there listening, and for the dealers that are listening. These are monster investments. All right, these are not inexpensive investments; they're monster investments. And it's funny, going back to that amusement ride kind of concept. I can see how that's how you guys kind of built out your booth. Like, I'm able to kind of like stand in line, kind of wait for stuff, but I get to kind of slow down, have a nice gourmet coffee or grab a drink and have some nice conversation, and then kind of move my way through the way that you guys. So I think you guys have, out of all the vendors out there, I think you guys have done some of the better jobs than I've seen in the past.
Well, look, last year was, believe it or not, was it's hard to believe, was our first year ever at NADA, and
You guys
we
brought a very fresh approach to it. I'm going to tell you that.
we won best booth at show. I think it's never been done by a first timer. So
And I
props
think
to our team, everybody that worked on it, our marketing teams, and everybody at Poly that had an input last year. It was a very, very successful event for us. We were kind of off into the other um, conference area. We weren't in the main stage area of the show. And when I got there and I actually walked from one side to the other, I was over to the east side. I was a little nervous. I was like, wow, this is kind of a long walk. I'm not sure who dealers are going to make the trek, but the buzz started about, you got to see this Poly booth. You got to see what they're talking about. You got to see what their offering is. The solution that they have for customers is amazing. And sure enough, we drew dealers from the main conference hall over to our hall, and it was amazing. We had an unbelievable show.
Well,
We
it,
saw
it all comes
tremendous
down to
growth.
experience.
Yeah, we saw
Well, that's
tremendous growth in our dealer count this past year. Even when everybody's tightening their budgets, what we provide for dealers and the experience that we can give their customers comes at no cost to the dealer. You know, this, Jason. How many vendors do you walk through at NADA where you can sign up, you can provide an unbelievable experience for your customer, and introduce a brand new revenue stream to your dealership that costs you zero money, zero investment. The only
no,
thing it
look,
costs,
it's a good point. There isn't a whole heck of a lot out there as
there's,
far as those
there's
options.
hardly there. I know of one. That's us. I don't know of too many others. Yeah, the only investment is
But
your time.
what I think is cool though is what you guys have done is you guys have really used the data that's been shown that what customers want. See, here's the thing I
That's right.
find, and I know we're getting a little off topic here, but it's like sometimes I do that. I go squirrel. I find in our industry when it comes from a SaaS perspective, we have a tendency of building product more for the dealer's benefit than the customer's benefit. But the thing that I learned years ago when I had my dealerships is that every time I built a process that benefit the customer as a dealer, I am the one that actually ultimately benefit from that. And I've seen a shift,
100%.
a good shift in the last couple years of newer companies coming into the automotive space. All right. And bringing this kind of element of like, we're here to enhance that customer experience. All right. Our product or our solution or our process, it was built for the customer. And in return, by providing that for the customer, the owner of the business actually always wins. And I think that approach has always been a great approach. And I see that clearly in your guys' product and solution as
Yeah,
well.
it's win 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 for the dealer, win for the consumer, win for Poly. Um, it makes for a really really great conversation with dealers and that are thinking about do we want to get into this space? Well, when you think about that and when you kind of take a step back and say, wait a minute, every time I sell a car, what is the one thing that every customer needs before they leave the lot? What's one thing that I need to make sure that they have? I need to, as a dealer, I need to make sure that they are covered and they have current insurance. We verify the insurance. Well, at Poly, we can do all of that and make it super simple, super easy, and make that experience exceptional, and provide a customer with something they're not expecting a dealer to offer them an opportunity to save money. Like that doesn't come up in conversation much at a dealership. Hey, I want to save you some money by
Well, that,
offering you
but that's the things that we can do, right? Like when we start
absolutely.
looking at technology, and we start looking at technology in the sense of I'm going to invest in technology for the purpose of enhancing my experience, not always my bottom line. Ironic thing is when we do that, the bottom line's always there. But it's just like what it's like. I think I call it the stew. By the way, I call this the stew. Um, I have this picture in my head of every dealership out there has this vendor stew, right? So you got a CRM, you got a website, you got a dash of live chat, you got a dash of some financing tools, you got a sprinkle of maybe some data or marketing tools, like,
That's right.
and look, the stew is supposed to taste good to the consumer. All
That's right.
right. And I find sometimes we have a tendency of kind of looking at the stew and we actually make it for ourselves, but we're the ones not actually eating it. We're serving this up. All right. And all these different little tech stacks. And I love the tech stack. And the reason I love the tech stack is because I think that's what actually gives the differentiating factor for the dealerships. Dealerships are looking like, I'm in a market and there's 13 other Nissan stores around me. And it's like, what makes me different? I got the same Nissan sign and the same Nissan product. And we're all going to be within a few dollars of the payment within each other. It's like, what makes a difference? It's not just what we do or how we do it. It's why we do it, the way we do it. And I think that's the approach that dealers can take towards their tech stack. And it gives direction to the vendor partners. And I say vendor partners, not vendors, just vendor partners, right? That we actually start utilizing. And this tech stack starts becoming tastier and tastier and tastier. And in some cases, I've seen some groups do such an amazing job of kind of branding their stew, like their tech stack, on how it brings substantial benefit to the customer. It's not just about the low payment. It's not just about the large inventory. It is about that experience. And I think the technology ultimately drives that experience.
No, 100%. And if we're going to talk stew, I'd say we're the gravy.
Hey,
we're,
there we go. I like that.
we make everything stick. I mean, one of the things we're going to be talking about is like getting it together, like get everything together all at one time, and that's going to be one of our key phrases at NADA this year is getting it all together with Poly and making sure that experience is top notch for the consumer.
If it was me and I was helping you out with this, I would tell you to go get gravy servers and then brand them Polly on it and hand it out, because
That's right.
everyone hands out like a coffee mug or a pencil or some mints or a little Bluetooth. You know what? Polly's giving out gravy boats.
That's right.
That's that like
Come,
just
come get your gravy.
Come get your gravy. I don't know. That's how my head works. Anyways, I do want to. I know we got a couple more minutes, and I do want to kind of like go back to, I think, this car buying study. What was maybe before I let you go? What was maybe one stat or one thing that you found in that car buying study that just kind of blew your mind? You're like, okay, that's the polar opposite of what I thought it was going to be. Just out of curiosity.
I think the biggest number that popped out for me was the 75% of car buyers that want an opportunity to get auto insurance at the dealership. I didn't think the number would be that high. But the economic pressures that the dealers are going to see this year with interest rates and just the overall pressure from the economy to that trickle down to the car buyer. The need for dealers to diversify and have new revenue streams, and the ones that the embedded insurance. It's just a huge opportunity for dealers to tap into, something they probably haven't thought about that hopefully in 2023 they will.
I'm with you 100%. That is very, very cool. Hey, Rene, for everybody out there watching, listening right now, maybe attending NADA, where can they find you? You're not in that far off corner anymore. I don't believe you are, correct?
No, we're on the main floor, but we're booth 6201. Could definitely come by and see me, say hi. One of the things we're going to be promoting is we have a party Friday night. So for Jason, for your listeners, they're all welcome. Just have to RSVP, which you can do at poly.co/poly party. So for anybody out there listening to the podcast today, you are more than welcome to come join us at the YO Ranch on Friday night. It's going to be fun from 6 to 10. Nothing crazy, no Vanilla Ice concert, but we're going to have some appetizers, some free drinks, and some great discussions, with people like me. So
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to jam with me today. This has been a lot of fun.
Look forward to catching up with you in Dallas in a couple weeks.
Me too. Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.